morning, Paul.
Morning, Ruth.
Nice to see you on here, and thank you so much for taking time out of, I know, what is a very busy schedule to come on here and share your experience of being on the Transform Your Gut program.
It's a pleasure. No, it's a pleasure, not a problem.
So you came to work with me all the way back in November, so nearly 6 months on the program, which is the length of the program.
Yeah.
And I know that you'd been experiencing a lot of GI symptoms, which was a reason why you were referred on to me.
Yep.
And we started off doing some functional diagnostic testing, which revealed that you had some mild inflammation, dysbiosis, which is that imbalance within the good and bad bacteria, and then also a bit of a metabolic imbalance as well. Mm-hmm. And there were also some markers on there which kind of a little light bulb went off of, we might need to do some further testing, in which we did, with regards to small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which commonly 80% of people with irritable bowel syndrome, it is actually SIBO, so small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So we did that, and we'll come on to show the results of that as we move through. So I'm going to do a couple of screen shares, but it would just be nice to hear your experience and your journey, the reasons why you came to do the program, and the types of symptoms that you were experiencing. So over to you.
Okay, right. My symptoms, when I think back, I've had them for quite some years, for a number of years, and I was always struggling to understand why I was getting the symptoms and what was causing the symptoms. And now that I've been in treatment for a period of time, I've also explained a few other issues that I had during that time. Mm-hmm. Just general sort of energy levels, well-being issues, and now that I've coming through the program, I'm seeing that a lot of things seem to be sorted out. You do a lot of reading when you're trying to find out what the issue is, and you read about serotonin levels in the gut, things like that, stuff like that. And there's always something new, and it can be confusing. So to actually be on a program where I can understand most of the time what's going on, it's great to see the results. And I think the last meeting that me and you had, Ruth, I explained that obviously we'd gone through another SIBO test, and I was surprised with my energy levels and my well-being, just the general feeling I had, and I feel great. It is quite unsettling when you have symptoms and there's lots of other things that are off as well, and you don't really know quite what's causing it. So it's been a journey, and it's taken some years for me to actually get to this point. But I guess I'm really, really pleased with the results.
Good. So in terms of the types of symptoms you were experiencing, which were your worst ones?
The worst ones? I mean, I remember going back a long time, 10 or 15 years, and I'd go to a restaurant, excuse me, I'd go to a restaurant, have a meal, and within an hour, I'd be on the toilet, and that became a regular thing, so much so that I couldn't really pin it down what it was, and so much so I would maybe not go for meals as much, or maybe not eat this, or maybe not eat that. So you're trying to work it out without the knowledge of what's causing the issue. Sure. Second to that was just flatulence, really, just general pain. So I'd be, and this is something that's been for a while. I'd go on a date. So you're on a date, and so you're holding it in for that date for obvious reasons. So you then go to the loo, or you finish the date, you go home, and you know that's not an ideal situation, but that's been as long as I can remember, and that's something that isn't a problem now. So those were the two sort of main things that were sort of physical things that I could tangibly link to an issue with something, but I didn't really know what it was. So obviously there were other issues as well, and just general, as you got, you know, as I was getting older, I was struggling with lots of different things, and nothing too serious, but it was, you know, why am I not feeling as great as I used to feel? you know, I'm doing better in business, I'm doing better in life, and things are all right. The better I feel, the worse I tend to get. But I think the better that you do in life, sometimes the more richer foods you have, the more you have the extra drink every now and again, and I think, you know, that goes along with it. So that probably does tie in. So doing this program has done a couple of things. Obviously, I've been on medication to rectify some of the issues, but I've also massively changed my diet. So you know, that's I think the big thing out of this. So once the treatment's over and once the medications have all finished, my diet, I'm confident now that the lifestyle change that this is kind of promoted will carry on, and you know, I'm seeing results from it. So it's all positive.
And that's the whole point of it. It's a journey, isn't it? I never want anybody to come on and go, oh, I'm just going to do this for 6 months and then I'll just go back to how I was, because ultimately you're just going to end up back at square one. And you have done so well with your diet. So impressed in comparison to where you were to where you are now, and the weight loss that you've made as well, and you just look so much brighter and so much healthier, and it's great to hear that you're feeling that way too. Yeah,
the weight has been surprising, because I've not had time to do much exercise in the past. I've done I've gained a lot of weight in the past and lost a lot of weight through cycling and things and stuff like that. I've not done that cycling for a long time. So in this sort of 6 months period, I've done spot bits of yoga, no gym work, because of work, and I lost, I think, I don't know, since between December and March, I think I'd lost about 11 kilos.
Amazing.
I'm like, wow, you know, that's a chunk of weight. And and it wasn't a case of actively trying to lose weight. I was eating normally, although I was eating different things. And
you weren't hungry?
No, I wasn't hungry. So I found myself less. I think as a kid I was fed. So you know, I like pot pies and all those sorts of things, and I was taught to finish my meals and the other. So if I didn't have a meal planned or some access to food, I get anxious about it.
Sure.
So that's not so much a thing now, because I'm more educated on what I have eaten in the day. It's not the end of the world if I skip a meal, as long as I'm eating the right thing in the next meal. So that's made a change. And the overeating thing, which I'm massively guilty of, is something that goes against obviously the program that we're doing. So the overeating thing isn't a problem. So I'm just naturally taking in less calories, and without really much effort at all, I've lost a chunk of weight, so which is great.
Really good, really good. So I'm going to do a little screen share just so that we can show initially what we've discovered with your stool test, and then also just a comparison with the SIBO results as well.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm going to screen share and do the results. So yours weren't, you know, I would say remarkable. A lot of people that I work with who experience a lot of gastrointestinal issues, we have a lot of red areas that come up within this. Now, this report is about, 14 pages long, but this is just like the top level overview here. So you can see it's looking at things like maldigestion, if people need support in that respect, if there's any infection, which thankfully you didn't have. And then it was these areas here, really, the inflammation, the dysbiosis, and the metabolic imbalance. And, as we drill through the report, we get more insight into exactly what it is that's driving all that, so that we can actually start to bring about that change, correct everything up, and ensure that your GI symptoms are a thing of the past. So that was your initial results, but some of the results within this test revealed that there was possible underlying SIBO. So then we did. So I'm going to stop this share now, and then I'm going to share again so that we can show your SIBO comparison. So your SIBO results were remarkable off the Richter scale. So we didn't know exactly how long it was going to take in order to bring these levels down, because it's quite scientific in the respect of how we do this. But we did a retest, and although we do still have SIBO and we're going to do another round of treatment, look at the results. I mean, absolutely incredible, the amount that they've come down. So we know that we're tracking in the right direction. So, one more round of treatment, and then that SIBO will be knocked on the head and we'll go on to the what's called a prokinetic therapy, which a lot of times is missed out, to make sure that everything is kept at bay. So huge congratulations to you through your journey, because you've been so committed and such an amazing client to work with. You've really kind of taken the direction and done exactly as I've asked you to do, and when that happens, people get results. So thank you again for taking your time out of your busy day to share your experience. Really do appreciate it.
Not a problem at all, and thanks. Thanks to you, because obviously if I hadn't had the right instruction, then I wouldn't be where I am today. And I very much appreciate it. So thanks very much indeed.
Oh, my pleasure.
Right.